Mobile observability is about production data. If you're not getting production data, making sense of it, going and changing how your application works, it's not observability. It's mobile something, it's monitoring, you might be getting some performance, but the goal is that you're you don't control the scenarios that you're getting data from. You're finding out about the real usage from real users out in the world. And so I think this is a very important point to just hammer home, which is as a developer, there are certain tools that might make your life easier. Monitoring might provide a clue into like a specific failure point that you need to solve, but observability is actually broader and it's going to take a little bit of uh, extra effort to get started, just from the sense that your your data coming from production isn't supposed to be predictable. You're not supposed to know exactly how people are using, misusing, or running into issues with your application. And so that's the whole reason for having observability is find out what really happened and then act accordingly, as opposed to, something that we've all run into, obviously, something like crashes. We know that crashes happened. We kind of know how to solve them most of the time very quickly. That's taking the easy stakes. The harder situations are finding out where usability has become an issue, finding out where device capabilities are overloaded, finding out how these apps are actually used, and then making decisions based on that. And it's not something you know before you release the app. You actually have a good amount of uncertainty about who and where and what the users are and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think the one point to hammer home is the difference between telemetry and observability. Just because you log a bunch of stuff as telemetry doesn't mean you got observability. Mobile data, mobile telemetry is used often for two things. So monitoring, so looking at your app at a very high level aggregates, um, and debugging, basically having a lot of detail so you can go through a timeline and see the events that led to a specific issue you're investigating. Those two things both require telemetry, but those two things in combination do not equal observability in any meaningful sense of the word. Observability is not simply that, oh, I can see something, it's observable. No, 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 no. Observability is being able to ask questions and get answers from your data, from your production telemetry. And like you said, it's not about questions that you already know you want to ask. If you want to know how many people are using Samsung phones, you may add a dimension in there that says, hey, is Samsung or whatever. Those are built into your telemetry. Those are effectively built into your aggregation. Um, what you want is to add enough context to your telemetry so that you could slice and dice and ask questions. So you may not know that you care about performance in Japan specifically before you did the instrumentation. But because you have that dimension, you're able to kind of carve it out or split by regions and say, hey, what's P50 like for a particular workflow, depending on region. You might think, oh yeah, why would they be different? The app doesn't run differently. Well, there may be extenuating circumstances, something like a different population. You have folks in general with faster phones in certain regions, and you may have folks with slower phones in other regions, and they may end up having, a different median, device of performance, and that's why people in particular countries are complaining about app startup being slow, and it's not because the app is different; it's because the population is different. So stuff like this is not something you could, exhaustively uh, log in terms of metrics. Well, metrics being right time aggregated metrics. like OTel does. But you're able to kind of, with enough information, with telemetry plus context, be able to answer that after the fact. And that's observability.